Okay, so I am going to try to very fast talk about Earth observation in the private sector, and I'm going to have a bit of a focus on exploitation platforms because this is the place where we are at this point. So a little bit about me. I am a technical geographer. I did geography. I work, as I mentioned, in a Romanian-based company, TerraSigna. Here I am involved in different projects. I also lead one with respect, from the part of my company as a technical officer. I have also been involved through TerraSigna into an open source initiative with the European Association of Remote Sensing Companies, a group that I've been leading there, related to understanding the maturity of this ecosystem. And together with a colleague of mine, also a lady, we have been leading an Earth observation group in BDVA, which is Big Data Value Association, at the level of the European level. A thing that I'd like to mention is that I have been volunteering basically since I've known myself as a geographer from my second year. I'm involved in geospatial.org, which is a Romanian community, and that has led to being, as I mentioned, involved in the international community for open source for geospatial that I will come back to later. I am a big supporter of open data and open access, and of course of open source. I've been using open source for over 13 years now. Going further, so just a very little bit of background of the company I work in, because it's important to understand from where this private sector vision comes from. So TerraSigna is an SME. It is 100% a Romanian company, and we've been around for about 12 years, I believe. Our areas of expertise are regard monitoring services based on satellite data and in situ data related to various domains such as urban areas analysis, wetland, agriculture, forestry. We are also highly involved in web-based applications development, like exploitation platforms development, also working and developing analytics tools related to geospatial data. Some of our clients, some of the people that we've been working with involve like the World Bank or Inter-American Development Bank. We're also working with the Romanian Authority for Agriculture Subsidies here in Romania for about 3 years now, something in that respect, and of course also the European Commission and European Space Agency. So from a private sector perspective, but please keep in mind that we are talking about someone working at an SME. So for us, from this specific perspective, there are two main directions that have helped and supported increasingly the private sector to develop. And on one side, we're talking about the most ambitious Earth observation program that we have at this point, which is Copernicus. And on the other side, it is related to the development of the open source for geospatial solutions that we have at this point. So as I was mentioning that I was leading one initiative group in Ask related to the maturity of this of the open source. During our analysis and study, it became clear to us that this ecosystem is mature, and at this point we have an open source solution basically for any part of the cycle for Earth observation and geospatial data processing, storage, processing, visualization, analysis, serving the products and so on. And of course, in the same line of thought, open standards, the development and the high usage of open standards. So thank you, OGC, for that. But of course, this kind of changed the paradigm. And why do I say that? Because we are living, without a doubt, in a world that is overflooded, we may say, with geodata. And that led to a different perspective that would include moving the user to the data instead of the data to the user, meaning that a scientist or a remote sensing specialist doing some analysis would not download the data and work on its own infrastructure, but moving into these so-called exploitation platforms or into the cloud. So at this point, at European level and at international level, there are a lot of solutions in that direction. So ESA started developing this idea of the exploitation platforms in around 2013. So they had 3 types of such exploitation platforms. One was related to the theme, one to the specific mission, and one to the regional. And that was, the idea was continued at the European Commission level, for example, with the data and information access services, or if you would like, the geospatial cloud. And at this point, there are 5 that are 5 operational. So, going back to the sector perspective, the private sector perspective, we can talk. I can share the views from both of these perspectives. We have also been a provider because we have been involved in the development of the coastal thematic exploitation platform and also a pathfinder for a regional exploitation platform for the Black Sea and the Danube. And we are also part of a consortium, a Romanian consortium that is developing an exploitation platform specifically Romanian for the Romanian authorities, our Sparrow project. And the other side, which is closer to where I am involved, is related to the usage of these services that we also do, because we are also interested in using, for example, DIASs in order to develop our services and for their dissemination, and also interested in financing opportunities for further development of the platform capabilities. So from a provider perspective, the situation in which we find ourselves at this point, the private sector, is that we have significant solutions from which we can choose. So this is just a slide showing all the solutions, some of them that are available at this point. So you can see that in the middle are the solutions that we have worked on, and we can be a provider. So that can be considered like one perspective. And related to building a business service on an exploitation platforms, there are also some barriers that I know the level of our company we have identified. One is, and probably we'll find out more about this or from Sandra, it is related to the legal aspects. This is a study from 2018 from BHO Legal, talking about the legal deficiency, if I can say so, regarding to the legal information for the current Earth observation exploitation platforms. The study again was in 2018, related to financial. It inquires some significant costs, when you change the paradigm of your workflow. And another aspect is related to the sustainability question, if you'd like. It's related to the level of maturity of these the exploitation platform that you choose to work with. And of course, another one that we have and I have encountered was related to the trust of the customers that we have, for which we create services, we develop services and we offer them, is their trust to upload, let's say, the data sets that they have to an external platform, and not on our infrastructure, but external, like regional or European. So that can also be a barrier. So related to what I'd like to mention here, that related to the financial aspects, an important development direction is related to innovating in platform capabilities, and there are some financing opportunities in that respect. I will not insist on that. So that is in very, very short perspective on the say private sector perspective on Earth observation. So talking from Bucharest, Romania. Now, you have also asked me to talk a little bit related to gender equality and in the gender balance, and in my career until now, and what I consider of. I think that, as it has already been said, in some parts is more difficult than others. The differences are more obvious. I have to admit that I have been. Maybe it's good to say that lucky that I haven't had significant impediments due to being a woman. I think what Lillian said before, that education and to talk about these things, these not necessarily situations, but these aspects from high school and going on into the university years is very, very important. I am happy to say that in my decade only career, I have seen obvious improvements, at least in the world that I move around. For example, in our company, I think we're a little bit, I think the percentage between men and women, I think we're a little bit more women than men. Another idea is that, for example, in the not-for-profit organization I was mentioning before, OSGEO, Open Source for Geospatial Compass, which is, as I mentioned, a not-for-profit organization for basically open source software development for geospatial. In the board of directors, which is formed out of 9 people, 5 are women and 4 are men. So in the conferences that I go to and in interaction with people, I can see an obvious concern for achieving equality in representativeness of women in boards and panels for presentations and so on. So I would say that this is I think that we are definitely going into a good direction, at least in Earth observation, in the Earth observation field. And something that I'd like to end up with, this is one tweet that I've seen and I really appreciate, is related to, just a few groups of women in various working fields, like ladies of Landsat or women in IRO, women in NASA, and so on and so forth. So I think we're going into a good direction. Okay, thank you.